Tennessee's most important remaining recruiting target was in Knoxville on Saturday for the Volunteers' big visit weekend. Who am I talking about? Five-star offensive tackle Jordan Seaton, the #1 rated offensive tackle in America, took an official visit to Tennessee over the weekend. In this video, we're going to find out where Tennessee stands, who are the main contenders, and what is next for the five-star offensive tackle as he closes in on a big decision that's going to impact a bunch of teams. So before we get into it, though, I need you to hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We got a lot more updates on Jordan Seaton coming. All the five-star recruits, actually. There's major developments breaking all the time as we close in a National Signing Day. Hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get into it. Let's bring on Director of Recruiting, Chad Simmons. And Chad, on Friday, Jordan Seaton did something. He dropped a top 7. Before his official visit to Tennessee, he dropped a top 7. That included Tennessee, Oregon, Colorado, Maryland, Florida, Ohio State, and Alabama. Chad, you wrote the story. You talked to him. Any surprises here in this top 7?
Maybe, going into that, maybe that Oklahoma was not on there. There were still talks as of last week, that they may go to Oklahoma this coming weekend after Thanksgiving for an official visit. So to see Oklahoma left off, maybe a little bit surprising, but just, timing didn't work out. They have a great connection there and all that. But Oklahoma maybe, being left out maybe was the biggest if there was a surprise. Maryland does a good job of at least staying in the race for a lot of guys up there on the East Coast, that part of the country. And that's a local program for him. So they're there running in the race. But really no big shockers or surprises overall, other than Oklahoma maybe not being on the list any longer.
All right, looking at that top 7, maybe you have a differing opinion, but in my opinion, I think there's 4 teams here that have a legit shot at landing Jordan Seaton. My 4 teams are Tennessee, Oregon, Ohio State, and Alabama. Now, I got Florida just outside that group. I think I need to see Seaton back in Gainesville one more time for me to put Florida into that top. I don't want to call it a top 4, but the 4 in that top tier that I think Jordan Seaton has the best shot at signing with. How do you break down this top 7?
Yeah, no, I agree with that for the most part. I mean, I wrote something about Seaton earlier on Sunday, basically naming the 5 schools you just mentioned. I think Colorado and Maryland are on the outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
I think Florida definitely has done a good job with him with the 2 O-line coaching thing. Will that change? There's been some buzz about maybe Napier changing that strategy and hiring a full-time special teams guy. So would that have an impact? But he does like the relationships at Florida. But I agree, Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon, of course, Tennessee, where he's at this weekend, I think all are very strong contenders. I would put, maybe the 3 that I hear the most about continuously are Ohio State, Oregon, and Tennessee. But you can't ever rule out Alabama. And he has great connections with that staff at Florida as well.
No, and if you remember back, I think it was in September, Jordan Seaton was on this show. And at the time, he named Alabama his leader. Now, he has gone back and said since then that everybody's on equal footing. And you can tell, he's being a little political as he closes in on a decision. But, well, there's one caveat, I think, in that 4 that I listed, and that was Ohio State. I think he needs to get to Columbus in order for them to have a legit shot. And I do think he will get to Columbus. But, Chad, has he actually rescheduled that date yet?
At the time we shoot this, to my knowledge, no, Josh. Obviously, they're still up in the air about when they can get there. Also, when Ohio State's available. Obviously, they play on the road this coming week at Michigan. If they win that game, they play in the Big Ten Championship the following weekend. So, there's still a lot of moving pieces there. I do think it is likely, like what you said, that he does get back to Columbus for an official visit. And that'll be key. I know he likes Justin Fry a lot. He likes the program. They have history of development on the offensive line position. And a key thing for Jordan is the school he thinks he can step on campus and make an immediate impact. He doesn't want to be that guy that gets just in the rotation per se or plays a little bit late in games or whatnot his freshman year. His plan is to go in, make an impact, 3 years later, get drafted. So I think he wants to be that Caden Proctor, of Alabama this year as a true freshman to slide right in and have a chance to start or play a lot of meaningful snaps right away.
Yeah, he's ready to go for sure. December 20th is the early signing day. Now, Jordan Seaton hasn't set an exact date, but he has told me, he's told you that he could end up and most likely will make a decision on that day. Do you think he'll take any other visits? I mean, I know we mentioned Ohio State, but what other visits could he end up taking between now and that decision date?
Yeah, right now, I think based on what I've gathered, he would like not to take any more trips. Him and his circle have been pretty busy on the road the last few months, and they were hoping to get to Ohio State, already. It didn't work out, and kind of be done with visits, by December 1st, and really take that month for critical in-home visits, having coaches in to lay out their plan one more time, give their message one more time. So, I wouldn't rule out, like an unofficial trip somewhere just to get back on campus, maybe ask a few questions. But right now, I think they would prefer to get that Ohio State trip in and then really sit down and crunch things down and figure out what's the right fit for him, what's the best place for him, come whether it's December 20th or somewhere around that early signing period.
Yep. Well, he's in Knoxville this weekend. As we tape, he's still on campus in Knoxville. We think he'll take another trip to Ohio State. I'm sure there's going to be a couple twists and turns in this one before that decision date happens. Chad Simmons, thanks for dropping by and breaking down this Jordan Seaton recruitment.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.